Hare Krishna. Okay, so welcome all. We are discussing Bhagavad Gita today, chapter number 2. And the title of the chapter is Contents of the Gita Summarized. So we have seen at a very high level what has happened in the first chapter, as can be seen in this nice small presentation. We saw various characters, preparation of war. We saw different signs of victory. Yeah, and you all know, probably are all expert now in the signs of victory. Then you also know that we saw Krishna as Bhaktavatsala, how Krishna protects Arjuna, Krishna protects his devotees. We also did a discussion on the first four reasons for Arjuna to not fight. Yeah, and you all know that compassion, yeah, for all living entities who are going to fight there, and all of those other people who are going to get affected, even though they are not in the war, but because their children, their husbands, their whoever are going to die, yeah, so they also get affected. So Arjuna says, why give so much trouble? So compassion was one of the reasons he didn't want to fight. Loss of enjoyment. Now, if everybody is going to die, who is going to enjoy with? Fear of sinful reactions, so much of bad karma is going to come in. Destruction of family traditions. So good people are going to die there. Obviously, there will be nobody to guide. Yeah, and the entire traditions and family, values will get destroyed. And we've also seen subsequently to that, where at this particular point, Arjuna is kind of just, he is like totally confused what to do, what not to do. And he is ready to stop fighting. He doesn't want to fight. So then we looked at the second chapter. So anything that you remember from the second chapter, let's look at what happens in the second chapter. Anybody? Nobody forgotten? We have to do some quick revision of second chapter also before we continue ahead. So what happens? Now this is the situation of Arjuna. Subsequently, what happens?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, go ahead.
Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna.
Very nice. Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna, but before that also something happens.
I think Krishna chastises Arjuna because of these weaknesses.
Yeah, okay. Okay, he chastises Arjuna. So very good. Yeah, Krishna chastises Arjuna saying Anarya Jishtam Maswaryam. And then what does Arjuna counter that chastisement with?
Arjuna is confused.
Yes, he's confused, but why? What does he see?
Because he is not able to take the decision whether he should fight or not fight. And he is
that is fine. That we know, but that is triggered because of something. Because he sees somebody, or rather he refers to somebody.
His grandfather, teachers.
Very nice. He sees his grandfather and Bhishma and his teacher Dronacharya. And what is his argument? That how can we disrespect? Even verbal reversal is not to be done. Here I'm going to send arrows to them. Yeah, I'm going to fight with them. So that is going to be such a huge disrespect. It is better to kind of not fight the war and not disrespect all of these people. So yeah, so he sees after the Anarya Jushtam verse, he sees he refers to his father, his grandfather, and Bhishma and Dronacharya, and therefore he says, "Yeah, I will not fight." And then he surrenders to Lord Krishna and becomes a disciple. What does he say? Anybody remembers the verse?
Karpanya dosho.
Very nice. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhavaha ichhami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha. Yeah, that because of miserly weakness, I am unable to decide what is the right thing to do. And therefore, please, Krishna, you become my Guru. Give me direction. Give me the right way to go ahead on this. Yeah. So that's where the actual chapter starts. Like we were saying, four things: compassion, loss of enjoyment, destruction of dynasty, fear of sinful reactions. Yeah. And of course, in chapter 2, the indecision coming out because of him seeing his grandfather. Yeah. At that particular point. Yeah, where is that? Yeah. And of course, Krishna telling him, give up your petty weakness of heart and all of this. And so much of different words are being used by Lord Krishna so that Arjuna gets some kind of, and that's where this particular verse comes. How can I counterattack Bhishma, who are worthy of worship? So Bhishma and Drona, you can see two people here who are worthy of worship, but Arjuna is saying, how can I fight them? Yeah. So therefore he says that let me go and beg instead of fighting. That's the point Arjuna makes. And he says that's the final way. Yeah, and that's the indecision part comes in 2.6. I don't know what is better, to be conquered by them or to conquer them, or to fight or not to fight, or to beg or not to beg. Yeah, and that's where he says 2.7, very important verse comes in Karpanya Dosho. Yeah, that I am now soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Yes. So at this point, then what happens? What does Krishna do here? What is Krishna's first reaction when Arjuna says this?
Krishna smiles, Prabhuji.
Very nice. Yes, Krishna smiles as if, and what is that smile? It's like the fatherly smile who is seeing
as
his
if
cute son. Yeah. And the son is like totally, flabbergasted, doesn't know what to do. Maybe he's broken a toy, he's done something bad, he's done some mischief. Yeah, and he's telling his father, I've done this. Yeah, and the father, in that knowingly, he smiles. It's not a big deal, no problem, we will sort it, kinds. That is the smile he does. And then what does he do? Second thing. Nobody? What does he do after that? It's there. The word is there on the screen.
He becomes a guru and
Very nice.
considering
He becomes a guru and he instructs. Yeah. So the first thing Lord Krishna instructs to Arjuna is what? So he instructs, he smiles, and then he starts instructions. What is the instruction that he gives? First
telling Arjuna
instruction.
there he is giving the exact meaning of spirit soul and telling that there's no time come when spirit soul is not
Yes.
present. I mean, it's there in
Yes.
the past, present, and future. So there
Very
is no
nice.
need for unnecessary lamentation.
Very nice. So he started to counter Arjuna's 5 doubts. And the first thing in his instruction is he differentiates between body and soul. He first thing comes to the level that you are not the body, you are a spirit soul. That is the point that Krishna starts with. Of course, Arjuna, we also saw he after the instruction, after asking for directions, he is still in the mood of grief. Yeah, and he is still crying in that particular scenario and asking that I'm not able to dispel my doubts. Yeah, and of course he still says I'm not going to fight. And then Krishna smiles. This is what he does. He smiles and starts the first instruction. What is the first instruction? That not to make the mistake of body and the soul. They are two different things. And Lord Krishna, in fact, he has already mentioned this previously in the verse number 4 or 5. But here he now gives proper instructions that those who are intelligent do not lament for the living or the dead. Yeah. So that's what here Krishna starts off. He discusses between matter and spirit. And a learned man knows that the body is temporary, the soul is eternal, and the learned man knows what is the difference between body and soul. Yeah. And we discussed this about how the soul is just or the body is just the covering to the soul. And of course, we will see this in detail as we go further in the Bhagavad Gita. But clearly, the gross body and the subtle body are two coverings on the soul. Yeah, and Lord Krishna is very, very clearly pointing out this particular fact by making this point that they will always exist. Who is the they here? They as the spirit soul. Yeah. So we don't say I have a soul, which means you are identifying yourself as a body. No. We have to say, I am the soul. I have a body. Yeah, so that is the right connect connotation when you start to identify yourself as a spirit soul. We are here bound inside as a spirit soul, and we are having a body. We own this body. We will see further. We are the knowers of the body. In 13th chapter, Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna, yeah, that the spirit soul is the knower of the body. And similarly, so what is the real identity? The real identity is I am a spirit soul, not that I am the body. Not the fact that if you're thinking I am the body and I have a soul, yeah, then it is problematic. There is no, so like many people, interestingly, even now, I mean, if somebody passes away, there are, people send a message saying that let her or his soul, yeah, let his or her soul go to Krishna or something. It's not her soul. He is the soul or she is the soul there. Yeah. So only thing that body is not there. So she has to go to Lord Krishna, not her soul has to go to. Yeah. So her soul means like then you're thinking that person was the body. No, that person is the spirit soul, and the person is having a body. He is owning the body, or he is now leaving the body. So that is the clear differentiation that we have to understand. That's what Krishna is now telling Arjuna, that you will never cease to exist. You will always be there. You is who? You as the spirit soul, not you as the body. That is the understanding Krishna gives in this particular verse. Yeah. And we discussed multiple aspects about eternal individuality. Yeah, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. Yeah, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always maintaining everybody. Yeah, which means he's a person, and all of these different sets of souls, they are also persons. They also have individual. They are individuals. That's the clear understanding that Lord Krishna is giving in this verse number 12. Natve vaham jatunasam natvam neme janadipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamata param. So that is the verse that we saw in our last class. In 2 weeks ago. I think last week we couldn't do, unfortunately. Let's see if there are questions. Yeah, Indumataji had a question. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I am having a doubt. You have explained the diagram of soul. So it is given in the last line that soul, spirit soul is having Satchit Ananda.
Yeah.
It's Anand form. So we are also a part and parcel of Lord. So we are also having all these three qualities.
Correct.
Same.
But in minute quantity.
Okay.
Yeah, the Lord is Satchit Ananda, super soul is full Satchit Ananda. The soul is also Satchit Ananda, but in minuscule quantity. Yeah, so difference is in quality wise is the same, but quantity wise it's very, very minuscule. It's like ocean and a drop of water of the ocean. So if you have the Athang Sagar, the huge ocean, from that you take ink filler and you take one drop. Yeah. So the drop and if you do chemical analysis of that drop, the drop will have the same set of chemicals as compared to the entire ocean, isn't it? Yeah. But the ocean quantity wise is very huge, and the drop of ocean is very small. So
So
quality wise they are same, quantity wise they are different.
how can we see these quality in ourselves? I mean, chit is for the soul.
Yeah,
Sat,
Sat is for the soul, Chit is also for the soul, Ananda is also for the soul.
but how can we differentiate, Prabhuji?
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
is what you differentiate between.
between these three, I mean, if we want
No,
to
you
see all
don't have to
these
differentiate. These are three qualities that the soul has, that you have. You are eternal, you are Chit, is in knowledge, full of knowledge, and Ananda, you're full of bliss. Right now, it's all covered by the three modes of material nature, so you are not able to. Therefore, you have to realize, you have to remove the three coverings. When you remove these coverings, these are all impurities that are there. So these impurities needs to be removed, these top three. Yeah, and then the soul becomes Satchit Ananda in the real sense. Till that time, we will always be problematic. And therefore, that's what the moksha is about, right? Moksha is getting released from the subtle body as well as the gross body. Yeah. So that is correct. Right now, we can only discover, we can only, think, but our real thing will only come when you apply techniques to remove the gross and the subtle body. Yeah. And one very important technique Lord Krishna gives in the 8th chapter is, at the time of leaving the body, we should think of Lord Krishna only and nobody else. Then we will attain to his nature. What is Krishna's nature? Satchit Ananda. So then the soul will also attain Satchitananda at that point. Right now, we can only discuss about this. We can't realize because we are not at that stage yet. We are still covered very strongly by the three modes of material nature, in the form of gross and subtle body, as well as a lot of envy, basically. Yeah. Okay, so we saw this particular entire verse, which Lord Krishna, Srila Prabhupada beautifully also talks about the Mayavad philosophy. So there are these various philosophies which try to understand the relationship between the soul and the super soul, or soul and Lord Krishna. And there is this one philosophy, the Mayavada philosophy, in which they say that Lord, or the supreme truth, is just energy, or just light. And I, as a spirit soul, is also light or energy. And what will I do? I will merge in that main light, and I will also become God. Yeah, so that's the kind of philosophy which is there. And why do they say this? Is because when they do their meditation or their practices, they only are able to see the effulgence of Lord Krishna. Yeah, and the effulgence of Lord Krishna, we've seen, we will see further as we go ahead, that no, in fact, we've seen it also earlier. Krishna is realized in three stages. Who remembers that? We've seen it in the second chapter, second or third.
impersonal Brahman,
Very nice. Impersonal Brahman,
Paramatma,
Paramatma,
and Bhagwan Swayam.
and Swayam Bhagwan. Very nice. Yeah. So three stages. The analogy given that is that of a train in the night, if the train is coming, first you will only see light. You will not see anything. And then the train comes ahead little bit. You go past the headlight and then you see the form of the train, and then you see the driver also coming out. Isn't it? Then you understand everything. So same way, or the example of the sun is given. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of the sun in that particular second verse of the second chapter, where he says the sunlight is, there's so much of sunlight, you can't even look at the sun, because it is fully covered, fully, so much of effulgence is there. What is that effulgence? That effulgence, similar, that effulgence is for Lord Krishna also. That effulgence covers Lord Krishna altogether. And the effulgence is called Brahman. And this effulgence is all over the place, because sunlight, just like sunlight is all over the place. the effulgence of the Brahman is also all over the place. So when these yogis or jnanis, they sit to do meditation, they are only able to see this effulgence. And they think, oh, the supreme truth is light, or the supreme truth is only energy. I am also energy, let me merge this. They don't fully comprehend the entire concept that behind this effulgence, there is a source. And when they go to that source, when we go behind the effulgence, then we will see Lord Krishna there. But this Lord Krishna also does, the effulgence also does one more amazing thing, that it reflects in the soul, heart of the in the soul as Paramatma. In the body, the Paramatma and the Atma both sit together. So that is a Paramatma realization. But here Srila Prabhupada talks about Mayavadi theory about about illusion and the impersonal Brahman. And they think that the impersonal Brahman, they will merge into the impersonal Brahman and lose our individual existence. Now, that is what their particular philosophy is. They say, I want to kind of just remove my existence altogether. But here, Lord Krishna clearly is indicating Natvevaham Jatu Nasam. Yeah, that you will never be separate. You'll always exist. Which means, that's what Srila Prabhupada here explains, that the individuality of a person will never go away. Yeah. That individuality of Krishna and of the Jiva will never go away. Which means even though the merging is you are just sitting in the sunlight there. You're not actually merging with Krishna also. To explain this, there is an analogy of a green, say a parrot. It's green in color. It goes inside and sits in a tree. It goes inside a tree and you can't see the parrot then. Why? Because the colors have just merged there. But the parrot is existing, the tree is also existing, isn't it? Yeah. So same way, the Mayavadi philosophers, because they want to merge, they go and sit in the Brahman as just dust in the sunlight. Yeah. So that's where, but still their individuality remains even there at that particular point of time. Even though it's called the merging, but that merging is like a parrot entering a green tree. The parrot is existing inside the green tree, but because the color and everything is same, they kind of look as if the parrot, it looks as if the parrot has merged inside the tree. But the parrot exists and the tree also exists. Yeah. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is condemning this Mayavadi philosophy, saying that you are only remaining at the outside Brahman level. You're not going deep down inside to understand who Bhagwan is, or how Bhagwan is also sitting next to you in the form of Paramatma and giving you knowledge. So that's what Srila Prabhupada here uses this particular verse to refute the Mayavadi philosophy, that there is actually no merger. Everybody exists. Yeah. But of course, there are some specific instances where it looks as if there is merger. For example, if you see the story of Shishupal, it looks as if when actually Krishna kills Shishupal, the soul or Shishupal actually merges in the toe of Lord Krishna. Yeah, and it looks as if he has got merged, but no, he doesn't get merged there. It's just a mechanism of him going to get one more, yeah, because he has to come back again. I think as another what I should say, because three lives are to be done by this particular Jay and Vijay, right? So anyway, the point is that the soul always exists, Krishna always exists. That is what Srila Prabhupada establishes in the second half of this 2.12. Very important verse for preaching also. When we're talking to people, this can be a very nice verse to tell that they will exist. They as a spirit soul, not as the body, and as a spirit soul, they will always exist. And Lord Krishna also exists. Okay, so that's where we were in our last class. Any other questions apart from what Indu Mataji asked? If not, then let's go to 2.13. That is very, very again. So now the entire next set of, if you look at the overall sectioning of the second chapter, we saw Arjuna's further doubts and surrender to Krishna. And now Lord Krishna, in the next set of 20 verses, is going to give knowledge, as instructions, because Arjuna is asking instruction, right? Please instruct me. So he is going to give jnana as knowledge. We've also seen that the second chapter is like a summary. So if we have seen how an executive report is, first they give acknowledgements. In office, in management schools, even when we are taught at how to write a report, we say the report first section will be all acknowledgements, name of people, he did that, who and she did that, all of that will be there, and thank you, all of those will be there. That's how even the first chapter is, all the names of people and all of that. Then second comes the executive summary, which is what chapter 2 is also. Chapter 2 is an executive summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So all the three concepts, jnana, karma, buddhi yoga, and sthita prajna, how a person, what is the final situation of a person who is fully realized. So all of that as a summary form, Krishna gives in second chapter. Second chapter is a bit heavy, almost also 72 verses in second chapter. And then Krishna goes ahead and establishes other aspects. But in the second chapter, a lot of emphasis is given on the understanding that we are spirit souls and we are not the body. That's the point here about this instructions of Lord Krishna that we will see. So let's look at the next verse, which is 2.13. Very important, nice verse, also very important for preaching. Let's look at 2.13. Ashish Prabhuji can read this one.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuyyati.
Very nice, very nice.
As
Go
the
ahead.
embodied soul continuously passes in the body from bodyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such change. Hare Krishna.
So now Krishna is giving additional information. When he is first says, you are always going to exist. Then the question will, if I'm going to be exist, then our body is dying, right? So then Krishna is explaining as a logical second step that you are a spirit soul. And because you're a spirit soul and you're embodied in this particular body, what is happening? When death is happening, you are just going into another body, that's all. And this is logical. Krishna says this is logical. Why? Because he says from boyhood to youth, the soul is there. And when we were all born, we had a small baby body, isn't it? Maybe 8 pounds, or if you're very healthy, maybe 10 pounds weight. And that small body, where is it now? That body is gone, right? And in fact, even scientifically, it's proven that every 7 years, every cell of the body changes all over. You are a full new body altogether. Even though this change is very subtle, from that small baby body, we have now come to this particular body. We've grown into youth. From youth, we've grown into old age. So we are all, that small baby body is gone. Youthful body is gone. Isn't it? All of that body is gone. Did we lament for those bodies? Of course, maybe we might be lamenting, oh, I want hair, or I want my teeth back, or I want my beauty back. We might be lamenting a bit, but still, the logic is that when that body changed and went away, similarly, what is logical? That when this old body, when this body becomes old, soul says, oh no, this body has become old now. I can't enjoy in this body. So what does the soul do? It leaves the body and takes one more body in which he feels he's going to enjoy there. So therefore, Krishna is saying a sober person, dhira, he does not get bewildered by such a change, because he says this is logical. This is very, very understanding. I had a small baby body, that's gone. I had a youth body, that's gone. Now this old age body is come, which is not so great. I will leave it and go. That's what the soul says. Yeah. So that's what here Srila Prabhupada makes this point, that why is this point being mentioned here? Because Arjuna is lamenting for the loss of the body. And Krishna is saying, don't look at the loss of the body. Look at that particular living entity. He is not going to die at all. So what are you worried about? And previously, another analogy is given by Srila Prabhupada, that when a person is drowning, you generally don't take the shirt and save the shirt of the drowning person, isn't it? And that is illogical. Same way, we are looking at his external body. Who is the real person inside? The spirit soul is living inside. Yeah. So he's saying, look at that. That one is never going to change. So that's what Srila Prabhupada also makes that in the first paragraph. Let's look at this paragraph. Yeah, Ashish Prabhuji can read this purport.
Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrate to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, and thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such change of body accounts for varieties of enjoyment or suffering according to one's work in life. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble soul, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in their next life, or at least life in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment of material existence. So in either case, there was no cause for lamentation.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is the point that Krishna is making, that you are thinking they will die. No, but they are going to get into a better place, isn't it? If because they are noble souls, they'll going to get heavenly bodies and they will enjoy the heavens if they die. And if they don't die, then they are continuing, right? In their current enjoyment, they will enjoy the kingdom, basically. So in either case, there is no cause for lamentation. That is the point. So Krishna, what has he done? Like I was explaining last time, he has taken Arjuna's level of understanding from a lower level to a higher level. So just like the analogy is that if you are stuck in a, say, traffic jam, yeah, and you are sitting inside the car and you can't make out where to go, how to go, and what to be done, and how to solve this problem. But imagine if you are in a 30th, you're standing in, say, a 50th floor of a building and you're looking down at the traffic jam. You'll very clearly know, oh, this is the point where this problem is there. Let's solve this problem here. And then when this problem gets solved, everybody will get, out of the traffic jam. So what has given you the solution? You are the same person, but only the height. Only when you're looking from top down, you're able to solve that particular problem. Same way, Arjuna, what is he doing? Krishna, what is he doing to Arjuna? From a lower level, lower platform of the bodily platform, he's taking him to a spiritual platform. He's saying, change your perspective. Now, when you look at it from a spiritual perspective, you can see that, oh, Bhishma and Drona, yes, they are going to die. If they die, they will get heavenly planets. They will enjoy there. Yeah, and if they don't die, they will enjoy here in on the earth by enjoying their life in Hastinapur or whatever. So in either case, there is no cause for lamentation. That is the point Lord Krishna is making, and we can see that here. Yeah. So boyhood to youth, to old age, and then a new body is coming. Just like a change of dress is happening. That's the analogy Lord Krishna gives. Just as a change of body is happening, same thing is happening to this particular jiva also. From the small baby body, it has grown to youthful body, then it has gone old, then again takes another body, then again becomes youthful, then again, yeah. So he keeps on, the soul basically keeps on changing. And a person who is perfectly knowledgeable does not need to get bewildered. That is the point that Lord Krishna makes. Yeah. So again, Srila Prabhupada in this verse talks about how the Mayavadi theory is not correct. So he says that in the next part of the paragraph, that oneness of spirit. The Mayavadis talk about, oh, I'm going to merge into God and I will become God. Yeah. So that oneness of spirit does not kind of fit in here, and let's see why he says that. Yeah. Yes. So let's read this ahead. Maybe Aditya Prabhuji, are you okay to read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, go ahead.
The Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as a fragmental portion. Such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleavable or changeable against the principle of the supreme souls being unchangeable. As confirmed in the Gita, the fragmental portions of the Supreme exist eternally, Sanatan, and are called Shara. That is, they have a tendency to fall down into material nature. These fragmental portions are eternally so, and even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same, fragmental. But once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead.
Okay,
The
hold on.
theory of
Yeah. Yeah, so this is what the important aspect is, that once liberated, this is referring also to Indu Mataji's question, that once the jiva is liberated, then he comes what? Into bliss and knowledge, eternal life. Eternal means sat, bliss and knowledge, chit and ananda, or ananda and chit, whichever way. So eternal sat, chit, ananda, when does he come? When he gets liberated. Till that time, he's covered in this material portion. But again, the Mayavadi theory, what does it say? You're going to merge and you're going to get no, that does not happen. Why? Because the eternal fragmental portions exist eternally. That's the point. That's why they are eternal. Otherwise, then we would not be called eternal, right? Then Satchit Ananda would become wrong. And also, what would mean? That would mean is that Krishna, who is whole, and from him certain portion is taken out, and that same portion is getting merged in, which means that Krishna is cleavable, Krishna can be cut. That is not the case, right? Because Krishna is unchangeable. That's why he's Achyuta. That's why he's Akshara. Akshara Brahma, we call him, right? Akshara Brahma is one who cannot fall down, one who does not get merged. But Kshara, yes, the eternal fragmental portion is coming out. That's what the understanding of this particular portion is, the second half, where the individual soul is an individual entity. That's the understanding. He is a separate living entity, and he is a servant of Lord Krishna. That's what here Lord Krishna is establishing, that the soul is an eternal fragmental portion and will never get merged. He will always be an individual. He will either be getting a spiritual body or a material body, and based on where he is going to get enjoyment only. So there is no need to lament. Yeah, that's the point that Lord Krishna is making to Arjuna. Okay, so then let's look at the next verse. Therefore, now that you know you're a spirit soul, how should you behave? That is what he is now wanting to apply this knowledge onto Arjuna. Let's see this one. Yeah, Aditya Prabhuji, read it.
Hare Krishna. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama paino nityas tamsatikshatsva bharata.
Very nice. Yeah, translation.
O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception. O son of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
So now Krishna is clearly mentioning that Arjuna, you're getting disturbed. Why are you getting disturbed? You know that you're a spirit soul. Now that you have to understand that you're a spirit soul, and all these minor things on the bodily level will keep on coming and going. And therefore, he says, what does he say? Non-permanent appearance, happiness and distress. Arjuna is getting disturbed, distressed. And he says this distress is non-permanent. Yeah, and it is coming and going, just like winter and summer. So analogy, Krishna is using an analogy here. Just like winter and summer keeps coming and going, happiness and distress keeps coming and going. Yeah. And why is that? Because they arise from sense perception. Because we are thinking I am the body, and oh, this body is getting hurt. Oh, I'm sad. If this body is getting some sense enjoyment, I'm happy. So happy, sad is happening. Why? Only because I'm thinking I am the body. Yeah. Therefore, Krishna is saying you have to tolerate. How do you tolerate? By understanding that I am not the body. Yeah, I am a spirit soul. That's the point here Krishna makes. That's one of the key points for also Arjuna to understand that what is the eligibility for liberation. How do I come to Satchitananda? By tolerating happiness and distress. How do I tolerate happiness and distress? By understanding that I am not the body. So anything related to the body is temporary. Therefore, I am whatever unhappiness is coming is only temporary. Arjuna, this unhappiness that has overtaken you is only temporary. Please understand. Yeah, that's the point that Lord Krishna is making. Srila Prabhupada also discusses, therefore, that we have to tolerate dualities. That's the understanding. Why? How do we tolerate dualities? By understanding that they are temporary. Any duality is just temporary. So even when we say get up in the morning and oh, no, I don't want to get up. Yeah. And then, but still you have to go ahead, do your duty, do all of those particular things, isn't it? So even though one way is you can get disturbed and do your duty, or you will say, no, I have to do my duty. Then you can actually just tolerate that particular getting up in the cold morning. And you execute and do your duty. For Arjuna also, he has to do his duty. Yeah, he has to do his prescribed duty. Same for us also, right? We also have to do our prescribed duties. Yeah, and when we do our prescribed duties in the right manner by understanding Bhagavad Gita, then we get advancement. We get spiritual advancement. How to do our duties? Just like a duty, which means not getting attached unnecessarily with the result of the duty, with the consequences of the duty. You have to execute my duty. I will just do my duty as is. That's what is the point here. How to do the duty? By not getting into this duality. That's what Krishna is. And we'll discuss about this particular point as we go further. But that's what Krishna, now like it's a summary, right? This is Krishna is just giving him knowledge and instructions that you have to execute your duty. You have to how do the duty? By tolerating the dualities. And how do you tolerate the dualities? Because we know they are temporary and impermanent. Just like summer and winter keeps coming and going, we have to keep on doing. So Srila Prabhupada gives the example of, that even in the month of Magh, in the winter season, we have to go to office. We have to get up in the morning, take bath, and even though we would want to sleep half an hour more or 1 hour more, but still we have to get up and go. Yeah, so we are tolerating that and we are going ahead and doing our duty. And if we are, sincere, and then we get rewarded for that. Same way for women cooking in May and June, so much hot is there. Still, you have to go in front of the fire and, cook. So all of that, still the mother does it for her children, for her family. She does that particular duty. And what does she do? She tolerates. Tolerates all the heat, tolerates the fire which is there even in the. So just like that, even a soul, Jiva, has to execute. So here Arjuna also has to execute his duties by tolerating the dualities. Now that is what Krishna is telling. And of course, this is applicable to all of us also. We also all have to execute our prescribed duties, whatever is applicable for us, by tolerating the ups and downs in life. That's what here Krishna, and interestingly, Krishna uses a nice name for Arjuna as Kaunteya. Yeah, Kaunteya, and also as Bharata. From both and father's side and mother's side, you are such a great lineage. Yeah, and therefore, in great lineage, with great lineage, yeah, you have to do what? You have to be proper in executing your duties because you're going to set an example. Yeah. So therefore, great heritage brings responsibility in the matter of proper discharge. And therefore, that's why he's telling Arjuna that you have to tolerate these ups and downs, tolerate these challenges, and execute your duty of being a fighter. That's what Krishna is trying to kind of help him. Okay. And then let's see further what does Lord Krishna say to help Arjuna. Yeah, Indu Mataji can read.
Hare Krishna. Yam hi na vyatadyanti yete purusham purushrishabh sam dukkha sukham bhiram sa amrittavaya kalpate.
Yes. So what happens when you do your duties with proper execution? What happens? Go ahead.
O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation.
So what is the reward for executing your duty with tolerating the dualities? You become eligible for liberation. That is the point that Lord Krishna is making. That if the duty is happened correctly and you are winning a prize or you're winning the project or winning, you are not happy. You say, oh, okay, this is great. I've done my duty. I've got my reward. If you don't get the reward, you don't get unnecessarily distressed. This is Lord Krishna's design. He is the one who is giving me what is required and what is in my fate, and he accepts whatever is the result comes. So he is like equipoised. He is not unnecessarily happy or unnecessarily distressed when he is executing his duty. And when you get such an attitude, you are eligible for liberation. Liberation means you are covering, you are eligible to remove your cover and come back into your original state of being a soul. That is what is the point Krishna is making here to Arjuna. Yeah. So the steady determination, you have to just execute whatever is your duty. That is when you do, automatically you get into the state of being liberated. Yeah. That's what Krishna explains here. How to come from a lower platform to a higher platform. Yeah. How do you come there? By focusing on liberation and overcoming the dualities of happiness and distress by tolerating those. And that's how you get to get out of this materialistic cycle. That's what Lord Krishna is kind of summarizing here. Yeah, how do you go there? So in the purport also, Srila Prabhupada talks about how to do our prescribed duties. He says, he talks about executing prescribed duties by tolerating for a higher goal. Okay, I will do this. I might get a lower goal, but then I will just tolerate whatever is required. I have to work hard. I have to do whatever, and then whatever the result comes, I'm okay, and I go forward. And Srila Prabhupada gives two examples. One of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who takes sannyasa at an early age so that he can preach the mission of Lord Krishna. Another example Srila Prabhupada gives of Arjuna himself. Yeah, Arjuna is advised to persevere in his duties even at the cost of fighting with family members. Arjuna, of course, we all know, subsequently the Mahabharata war does happen, and Arjuna fights very valiantly. And even though he is fighting with his own family members, he executes his duty with a duty of being a Kshatriya, with being fully equipoised, knowing that even if they get killed, it's going to get benefited because they are going to get a higher body or a better body than as compared to what they have now. Yeah. So basically, because he's now focused on their liberation, on the other soul's liberation, he is able to fight. And that is how we also have to execute our duties. We have to execute our duties with the consideration that this will help the other person. Arjuna, by fighting, is also helping all other jivas by getting them into into a higher state by ensuring that old body is now gone away. That's how Lord Krishna is trying to explain to Arjuna why he has to fight. Yeah. So that's the understanding here. If you look at this nice chart of text 14 and 15 of tolerating happiness and distress, becoming equipoised. You're not this side or you're not that side. Everything is kind of equal to you. Yeah. Why is everything? Why we should make everything equal? Because they are non-permanent. The happiness, they appear, disappear. Happiness appears, happiness disappears. Even distress appears and disappears. Yeah. And when we are tolerating without being disturbed, then we get eligible for liberation. Now, that's how the entire flow is. And now how to tolerate? That is what the various techniques are. If you're able to tolerate this, which means you are trained, isn't it? Now, Krishna, of course, he does not leave it here. There's another set of 16 chapters which tell us how to tolerate, what are mechanisms to tolerate these dualities. Yeah, and all of those particular things. And when we are able to tolerate, we don't get disturbed, you are fully equipoised, your mind is fully shant, not getting disturbed by anything, we become what? Become eligible for liberation. That is the point that Arjuna is also telling to Krishna, Krishna is telling to Arjuna, so that he will not be attached to the body. Yeah, because right now what is happening? He is attached to his bodies, he is thinking at a bodily platform. Krishna is saying, come at a soul level. When you come at a soul level, you are able to go ahead, transmigrate into liberation, and you will not feel anything bad about doing your duties. Let's see further. What does Lord Krishna say in 2.16? Yeah, Shamila Mataji, you're okay to read?
Hare Krishna Guruji, yes.
Hare Krishna.
Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubhayorapi drishtonta, stvanayostattvadarshibhihi.
Very nice, very nice.
Those who are seers of the truth have conducted that of the non-existent.
Concluded.
So have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both.
So now Lord Krishna is giving further differentiation between soul and the body. One, what does he say? That those who are seers of the truth, means Tattvadarshi, those who know what the truth is. What have they concluded? That of the non-existent, this material body is non-existent. While after a while it will go away. There will be no existence of this body at all. Yeah, after say whatever, may you all live for 100 years. After 100 years, nothing will remain. Everything will be just gone, that entire material. So therefore, this body is called non-existent. What is the word is asataha. Asataha is of the non-existent. What is the quality of the non-existent material body? There is no endurance, which means this body will not remain for a long time. Yeah. And of the eternal, that is the soul. There is no change. The soul is always Satchitananda. Yeah. What only gets changed is the covering that gets changed. Inside the core, you as the spirit soul remain the same. Yeah. And how have they come to know this? They have concluded this by studying the nature of both. Yeah. So they've studied the material body, they have studied the soul, and they have. So if you look at the entire Ayurveda, what does it talk of? The material body and what problems and how to solve it and all of that. And if you look at Taittiriya Upanishad, it talks about the soul and the aspects of the soul and everything related to the soul. So there is of course, there's an entire body of work to back this particular statement that they have concluded by studying the nature of both. There is an entire body of knowledge which has studied the material body, which has studied the spirit soul. Yeah, so that's what is the clear differentiation now Krishna is bringing in as part of the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is also known as the fifth Upanishad, isn't it? So it's like Upanishadic, this is an Upanishadic statement that the material body is non-enduring, soul is non-changing. Isn't it interesting combination of this particular understanding of the material body and the soul? Yeah. So that's what here Srila Prabhupada also explains further. Let's look at this second paragraph, interesting paragraph. Yeah, Mataji, can you read this one?
This is the beginning of the instruction by the Lord to the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. Removal of ignorance involves the re-establishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable and the consequent understanding of the difference between the part and parcel living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can understand the nature of the Supreme by thorough study of oneself, the difference between oneself and the Supreme being understood as the relationship between the part and the whole. In the Vedanta Shastras as well as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme has been accepted as the origin of all emanations. Such emanations are experienced by superior and inferior natural sequences. The living entities belong to the superior nature, as it will all be revealed in the 7th chapter. Although there is no difference between the energy and the energetic is accepted as the supreme, and the energy or nature is accepted as a subordinate. The
Yeah, hold
living
on. Yeah. So this is the crux of the entire that like what, and in fact what, again pointing out to Indu Mataji's question, the jiva, or the spirit soul is Satchit Ananda, and the energetic or the one who has created this jiva is also Satchit Ananda. And they're both same in quality. That's what is the point here. There is no difference between energy and the energetic. Yeah, and the energetic is accepted as a supreme, and the energy or nature is accepted as a subordinate. But still, even though there is no difference between both of them, there is a master and subordinate relationship between these two. That is the key point here. And where is all of this written? In the various Vedanta sutras, in the various understandings. Srimad Bhagavatam also explains all of this particular point. Yeah, and when we understand this aspect, that I am a eternal servant of Lord Krishna, I am a spirit soul. Yeah, Lord Krishna is the master, I am a servant. This is the beginning of the removal of ignorance. Today, right now, we are thinking, I am the master. I am do this. I have this power. I am this. I am that. I am the owner of this particular. I have so much money. I am. You are. I. Is you thinking as a master. Yeah. Whereas that is the wrong understanding altogether. We are eternal servants. We have to, when we realize this aspect, when we come to this particular level of understanding, it means what is that? We are removing our ignorance. Thinking that I am the master is actually ignorance. By removal of this ignorance, what are we doing? We are re-establishing the relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable, between us, the worshipper, and Lord Krishna, the worshipable. When this relationship gets established, automatically all of the ignorance goes away. Yeah. And we really come to know who we are. What is our real nature is when we come to know. And when we come to know our real nature, we are also Satchidananda. Lord Krishna is also Satchidananda. And we also come to know of Lord Krishna's nature. And we therefore are able to really comprehend who the Lord is, and then basically all our ignorance gets dispelled when we are at this particular level of understanding. And that is the process, that's the stage that comes in. And if you see, the entire Bhagavad Gita can be overall classified, and in fact not even Bhagavad Gita, every kind of knowledge which is there in the Vedanta Sutras, in the Shruti or Smriti, can be classified in 3 levels. Yeah. And this you can segregate this into 3 levels. One is knowledge which talks about sambandha. Sambandha as in, what is my relationship? Who is Lord Krishna? Who am I? And what is my relationship to Lord Krishna? Sambandha. Yeah, that is the part. A second aspect, so if you see, various verses can be classified as Sambandha verses. They are talking about relationship between the soul. They're talking about who the soul is. They're talking about who Krishna is, and all of those. So they are Sambandha verses. First aspect of the segregation. Second is Abhideya. Yeah. So Abhideya versus how do I establish this relationship between me and the Lord? What is the process? How part? The how aspect of this particular. So Sambandha is what is my relationship with Lord Krishna. Abhideya is how do I establish this relationship with Lord Krishna? Various methods, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, they are all Abhideya verses, Abhideya understanding. Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya Gyan. Third is what happens after I establish this sambandha. I have the how part I have understood. I have executed the how part. Now what will happen? That is called prayojana. Yeah. So sambandha, abhideya, and prayojana. So all of these three is what how our entire shastras are set up. So we have to very clearly understand what is the sambandha. That's the first part. So many verses like this, these are Sambandha verses. They talk about what is our relationship with Lord Krishna. It's here clearly, like Srila Prabhupada says, the living entities therefore are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord, as in the case of a master and a servant, or the teacher and the taught. So this is Sambandha verse. It is explaining to us what our nature and what is the relationship to Lord Krishna is. Yeah. So as soon as we kind of comprehend each of these particular aspects, Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana, we kind of get to understand each of these particular aspects. So if you look at this particular verse, yeah, this is talking about the soul, isn't it? Therefore, it becomes a Sambandha verse. Those verses, it talks about a soul and how the soul is not the body, how the soul is eternal, and how the soul is non-changeable, isn't it? So you can clearly make out this is about the soul. It is talking about the Sambandha aspect of this knowledge of this particular verse. So as we go ahead, I want you to identify each of these verses. Are they Sambandha verses, Abhideya verses, or they are what I should say, Prayojana verses? Yeah, that is what we will basically look at. Okay, so if you look at 2.16, yeah, this is what the material. So there is a spiritual world, there is a material world. Clearly here you can understand the differentiation. And who are these? These are the seekers of truth, all those who have written. What have they understood? That the soul is not changing, the body is always changing, and therefore it is non-endurable. That's what is this crux of this particular verse. Difference between body and matter. That's the understanding. And what does the entire Bhagavad Gita do? It helps us to drive away this ignorance. That's what we read, right? What is the ignorance? Ignorance thinking that I am the body. That's what the body. So removal of ignorance, what does it involve? If you look at this particular point here, which I was discussing, removal of ignorance involves sambandha. Yeah. So re-establishing relationship, re-establishment of eternal relationship, the worshipper and the worshipper. Sambandha, we have to implement. How? By the Abhideya process. Yeah. And Prayojana is the end goal. What happens after you assess, after you understand. Yeah, nice. Sachin is mentioning. Yeah, we can look at this as a SAP. Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. Very nice, very nice. SAP as in SAP software. Okay, that's the verse number 2.16. Again, Lord Krishna, we are going to emphasize on a lot of these subsequently as we progress. But Krishna is giving all of this as summary knowledge. So we just now going to accept, understand, discover what all these things are, and slowly we will apply all of these things further as we progress. Yeah. So that's this very nice verse that nasato vidyate bhavo, that of the non-existent material body there is no endurance. The material body does not endure, and the eternal soul there is no change. That is the clear differentiation between the soul and the body. That's one thing we have to keep in mind. I hope you're taking notes so that you can remember all of these particular aspects that I'm discussing. Okay, let's look at, therefore, now further aspects of understanding the soul. Yeah, so now in this entire till 2.30 is just knowledge about the soul, because Krishna is wanting Arjuna to come to a higher platform so that he can solve his problem on his own. Yeah, so let's see further aspects of the soul in 2.17. Yeah, Sachin Prabhuji can read this one.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
Avinasi tu tadvidi, yena sarvam idam tatam, vinasam anyayasayaya
Avyavasa, yes, yeah.
avyavasaya na kaschit kurtam arhati.
Very nice. Okay.
That which pervades the entire body, you should have to be
You should know.
indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul.
Yes. Yeah. So now comes one more aspect of understanding the soul. What is it? That it pervades the entire body. It's invisible and it is indestructible. So if you are making notes, soul, qualities of soul, it pervades the entire body. One more point. And it is indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. So that is what the real nature of the soul is. Srila Prabhupada makes this point, and he also gives further information about the size of the soul. Let's look at the. This is the soul is pervading the entire body, and that's one of the symptoms of the soul is the aspect of consciousness, or the aspect of how should I say? Just to know that you are there. Like for example, even on the small toe, if somebody makes a pinch, you're suddenly aware of it, right? Isn't you become aware? Why you're aware? Because the soul is entirely connected. The body itself is chemical, right? Isn't it? But if somebody pinches or cuts your small toe, yeah, you are aware of that. Oh, something is happening. Why? Because of the soul, because of the soul being pervading all over the body. Yeah, so that's the consciousness aspect is that of the soul. And how does that consciousness aspect come about? By the pervasion of the body, of the soul in the entire body. That's the important part. Let's read very nice information Srila Prabhupada gives. Let's read this one. Yeah, Prabhuji, go ahead. Sachin Prabhuji, can you read the first part of the
Sorry.
purport?
Yeah, I was on mute, sorry. This verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and pleasures of the body, in part or as a whole. The spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. The pains and pleasures of one's body are unknown to another. Therefore, each and every body is embodiment of an individual soul. And the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. The soul is described as 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair point in the size.
Yeah, hold on. So now, so many things. One clear point is that the consciousness is spread all over the body. The understanding of the consciousness is the pain and pleasure. So I was giving the example of the pain. Yeah, same with pleasure also. Yeah. Pleasure also is somebody is massaging your feet. You feel so nice. Somebody is massaging feet. Wow. Yeah. So you feel that pleasure that is there. Pain is also there. Why does this come? This come because of the soul's consciousness or the soul's symptom of consciousness of the soul within the body. Yeah. And then now comes the size of the soul. How big is this soul? Yeah. So here Srila Prabhupada refers to the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. And it refers to this point. And this, what does it say? Let's look at what is the meaning. Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu. Sachin Prabhu, you are muted. Go ahead.
Sorry. When the upper point of a hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts, Each such part is the measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. Similarly,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
second
Hold on,
version
hold on.
is
We will see that. Yeah. So this basically is coming, it's not somebody's imagination. It is there in the Shweta Shatara Upanishad. Yes, the Upanishad is confirming what is the size of the soul. So that is the small tip. A tip of the hair, you break it into 100 parts, and then you take that 100 part and again break it into 100 parts. Yeah. So 1/10,000 part of the tip of the hair, that much how big you are, or how much big we are basically. That minuscule portion, but the minuscule portion is the spark, is the spirit spark, which has gone inside the body, and now this entire body, it goes into an elephant's body, and it gives that entire big body the power, or it goes into dinosaur's body, and then it gives that entire dinosaur the body of the power to execute. So same way, the size of the soul remains the same, but where it goes, in which body it occupies, it is still able to control the entire body. That huge body is irrelevant. So that's one aspect. Yeah, such a tiny soul is giving. Another version also talks about similar part, now measured as 1/10,000 of the upper portion of the hair. Now, so two specific. This one, Srila Prabhupada doesn't give. I think it's from the same Shvetasvatara Upanishad itself, where this particular verse comes in. But now we get to know the size of the soul. Yeah. So the size of the soul. So now this small size of the soul, how does it go into this huge body? Yeah, or how does it control the huge body? Srila Prabhupada gives a fantastic analogy. Yeah, let's look at what that analogy is in the next paragraph, and I want you to identify that analogy. Somebody else can read. Yeah, Shamila Mataji, you can read this one.
Therefore, the individual practice of spirit soul is a spiritual atom smaller than the material atoms, and such atoms are innumerable. This very small spiritual spark is a basic principle of the material body, and the influence of such a spiritual spark is spread all over the body as the influence of the active principle of some medicine spread throughout the body. This current of the spirit soul is felt all over the body as consciousness, and that is the proof of the presence of the soul. Any layman can understand that the material body minus consciousness is a dead body, and this consciousness cannot be revived in the body by any means of material administration. Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination, but to the spirit soul.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. So what is the analogy here? Anybody else, or Shamila Mataji yourself?
Material atoms.
No. Analogy of how the
It's
soul is spread
spark.
all over the body.
Spark.
Okay, spark is small. No? How is it spread?
Medicine.
Medicine, exactly. Yeah, isn't it? So medicine. So you have pain in your feet. You take some painkiller, and the medicine basically spreads all over the body to relieve you of the pain in the leg or wherever. Yeah. So just like the medicine, how does it spread all over the body? The soul is also spread. It's through its consciousness is spread all over the body. Yeah. And consciousness is the proof of the presence of the soul. And we all know this, right? That when the soul leaves, the body is nothing but just dead chemicals. We just, in fact, throw away the body, we burn the body, or you bury the body. Because it's of no value. Why? Because that tiny spirit spark is gone away from that particular body. And you cannot revive it. Now, once the person is dead, maybe in some situations, maybe it might happen, near-death experiences. But once a person is dead, largely in most cases, you cannot basically bring back the body. Yeah. So that once that tiny spiritual spark goes away, nothing can be done. The body becomes totally a set of useless chemicals which has to be destroyed basically. So that's the point. And here Srila Prabhupada also further discusses about the understanding of the soul as a devotee, that what is it? One is on the size. So now we've come to know of the size. Now, secondly, Srila Prabhupada explains about how this soul is existing in the body and where it is existing in the body, and how is it kind of going all over. And he takes the reference of the Mundaka Upanishad. And what does Mundaka Upanishad say? Mataji, read ahead. Shamila Mataji, go ahead.
Okay. This, where do I start from?
Yeah, in the
Okay,
Mundaka
in the
Upanishad.
Mundaka Upanishad, the measurement of the atomic spirit soul is further explained.
Yeah,
Each
okay, big verse. No, leave that. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. The atomic soul is floating in the 5 kinds of air, prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. Is situated within the heart and spreads its influence all over the body of the embodied living entities. When the soul is purified from the contamination of the 5 kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited.
Yeah, so now further information about the soul inside the body. It is floating in 5 kinds of air. So these 5 airs are part of our body: prana, apana, vyana, samana. And this comes in the Taittiriya Upanishad as to how the soul kind of is part of this particular body. This aspect comes in. And it says, interestingly, it is situated within the heart. Yeah, and sitting there in the heart, it is spreading all of the influence all over the body. When the soul is purified from the contamination of the 5 kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited. So we have to purify. Currently, the body, there is contamination in the soul because of that coverings. So when we remove or those coverings are purified, or when those coverings are removed altogether, then the original spiritual aspect comes out. That's the point. Now, interestingly, here it says it is situated within the heart. Yeah. So now if a heart transplant happens, what happens then? Does the soul move out, goes into the other place, and then comes into this place? What happens? How do you understand this? Or a different person comes in altogether? Different soul comes in altogether? What happens? What do you think? We've all heard of heart transplants, right? Doctors.
Maybe some part of that person goes into that person.
Some part, yeah, the heart is going. That is the part which is going. But what about the soul?
Maybe some part of soul also goes in that person.
No, the soul cannot be cut. No, it cannot be split. It's already so small, tiny. And the other person's soul, so for example, wherever the heart is come from, that person is already died, no? So which
Yeah,
means,
so it will be the new person.
is it? So basically that whatever that heart is taken, that heart does not have a soul basically then. Isn't it? Because the soul is already gone, and now only the mechanical portion of that particular soul is put in. Is that what happens? What do you think? I mean, put on your thinking hats. Tell me.
Isn't it like consciousness is all in the body? It said like the previous one said
Interesting. Yes.
from toe to head. And now, so if it's toe to head, it has to be the heart as well. And now,
Yeah. So
if it has
constantly
to
the
be,
soul moves out of the heart when the heart is removed, and the next heart is put, and the soul comes back into the heart, like that. But
yeah,
interesting point to think about, right? That how does this? What the point again is that the soul is not, even though it is situated largely within the heart, but it is spread all over the body. So when the heart is removed, it's only a mechanical aspect of the soul which comes out, and when the other heart comes in, the mechanical aspect basically starts off, and the electrical aspects again come in, and the heart starts to beat, and the soul, the exhibition of the soul probably of consciousness again comes back at this particular point. But interesting, I want you to think on this particular aspect, that what happens when such an event occurs. What happens?
Prabhuji, basically, it is given that it is controlled by the 5 kinds of air. And that air is actually free floating and present all over the body, and it's control our emotions also. So
Correct.
that's in Ayurveda, it is a consideration that so who are having a more of Vata type diseases, they are, I mean, very
More emotional.
anxious through their
Yeah,
intelligence and
anxious.
mind.
Yes.
So I think if the heart transplantation occurs, it's a mechanical process. But again, if the someone other's heart is also transplanted, so it is then controlled by that free floating airs, and
Correct.
it then affect our consciousness.
Correct.
I
Correct.
think it
Yeah,
may be
exactly.
like
Something of that sort, something of that thing might be happening. But again, the point here is that the influence of the atomic soul is spread all over the body. That is what here the entire aspect. Srila Prabhupada explains this point in the second last paragraph. Please read this paragraph, the second last and the last paragraph, as part of homework. Yeah, for you to get some more thought on this particular point, that if the heart is transplanted, what happens to the soul? Yeah.
It seems like we all are the same inside, you know.
Yeah, of course, same model. Yeah. Yeah, Shamila Mataji had a point. Go ahead.
No, Guruji.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we are almost out of time, but there is this entire discussion in the purport on these important points, which we will quickly review in our next class also. But the point is that more information is given to us now about the soul as part of the instructions received by Lord Krishna, received by Arjuna from Lord Krishna. Yeah. And because Krishna is very clearly wanting Arjuna to come to a higher platform, to the soul level, rather than remaining at a bodily level. Yeah. And therefore, he is giving information about the soul. He's giving information about what the real nature of everybody is. That we are not the body, we are all spirit souls. Hare Krishna. So let's stop here for the day. Sorry, I'm going a bit slow in this particular section because this is a foundational section. And we need to really comprehend, understand what does it mean to be a spirit soul.
Prabhuji, I am having one small doubt
Mhm.
regarding the tolerance part. It is said that we have to be tolerant towards
Tolerate.
happiness
Yeah.
and distress condition. I think it is related with material situations. But
Correct.
for the things,
Bodily related situations.
for the things, I mean, for Krishna consciousness, if suppose any of the bodily condition or family condition, sometimes it happens we are not able to complete our 16 rounds. So those who know the importance of it, they are in distress that I am not able to complete my rounds. So what we should do at that time? I mean, we have to tolerate that
complete.
condition, or we should really feel
Yeah.
bad and
No.
what?
So we are not doing a duty, no. Our sole duty we are not doing. Our sole duty is to do devotional service. Yeah. So if we are, so you have to clearly understand what is the distress. Is the distress at the soul level because I'm not able to do my duty towards Lord Krishna and towards my Guru? Or is it temporary? Oh, I lost the lottery. I didn't win this. Oh, this or something happened in office. My boss is angry at me. And therefore I'm distressed. What is the kind of, so all the bodily related distresses we have to tolerate. The analogy also is given that of a woman cooking in the kitchen, right? Or the other analogy given was what? The taking bath in the winter. Yeah. So those are bodily level distresses, which is what you're mentioning is at a soul level. Yes, it's a spiritual distress, which is very good because even for example, even the gopis, they are distressed when Krishna disappears or Krishna goes away and they are unable to find out where Krishna is. So that is also a distress. Of course, they tolerate that, but they enjoy the distress also because they are thinking of Lord Krishna at that particular point of time. Yeah. So we have to differentiate bodily level distresses, we have to tolerate. Spiritual level distresses, we have to try and make it up. So if you're not able to fulfill your vows of, say, 16 rounds to be done or whatever you have taken your own vows of doing, then it's a problematic thing. We have to, okay, I have not been able to complete. I will complete it after some time, or I will complete it tomorrow, but I will complete it like that. Yeah. So any soul or spiritual level distresses, no problem. You can have, like, we should be greedy at a spiritual level, not at a material level. We should be greedy for eating prasad. We should be greedy for kirtan. We should be greedy for association. So greed as an emotion is problematic, isn't it? We all say we should not be greedy, but we should not be greedy for what? For material things, but we should be greedy for spiritual things, isn't it? So all of that, that's how we kind of differentiate and understand even the tolerance aspect. Tolerance for the bodily level, yes, we have to tolerate. Distresses at the bodily level, we have to tolerate. Distresses of the spiritual kind, yeah, is welcome, because that helps you to improve at a spiritual level.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense?
Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so we are totally out of time. Let's then close the class for the day here today, and we will meet up next week. Please think about all of this. There's a concept called Manan. We have to do Manan, yeah, because we are discovering so many things, yeah, in our discussions, but we have to think deeply about what we have discovered, because knowledge, yeah, acquisition happens in three levels: discovery, understanding, and application. Yeah, so the manan aspect comes in the understanding aspect. So we have to really do manan, discovery, understanding, and application. So the second part we should do as part of our japa, as part of our thinking processes, as part when we have time, of all of these things that we have discussed and discovered. Hare Krishna. एकम शास्त्रम देवकी पुत्र गीतम एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मंत्रः तस्य नामानि यानि कर्मापि एकम तस्य देवस्य सेवा त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरे परमात्मने प्रणतः क्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कात्यायनी महामाये महायोगिन्यधीश्वरी नन्दगोपसुतं देवी पतिं मे कुरुते नमः श्रीकृष्णः शरणं मम दासोऽहं कृष्ण तवास्मि श्रीकृष्णः शरणं मम दासोऽहं कृष्ण तवास्मि श्रीकृष्णः शरणं मम दासोऽहं कृष्ण तवास्मि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता पाठ की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा।
Hare
बाय बाय ऑल।
Hare Krishna Guruji, thank you.